Well, hello everybody. We're here in a small town just outside of Birmingham at Bessemer Municipal Airport. There's been a lot of flight training going on out of this airport. I've been in Cirrus 374 Romeo Lima for the past few days getting ready for my double I check ride. This will be my final single engine check ride ever, so I'm looking forward to getting it done. This is also a final flight in Cirrus 374 Romeo Lima, the plane that we've had for 2 years now, but it's time to upgrade. So we look forward to sharing that with you and the new news to come on what the new plane that's going to replace 4 Romeo Lima is. So jump aboard, let's go to Tallahassee, an hour and 20 minutes in flight. We're going all the way at 11,000 feet, so this should be a cool flight. So jump aboard, first flight as a flight instructor. So we got our first flight from the right seat with y'all. I'm excited to show y'all what I've been preparing for with my double I check ride in the morning. I had them top off the fuel, these screens, we can go through all of them. And gone through all those. Now we can start it up. So starting the Cirrus is really easy. You literally just push the mixture all the way forward, power lever all the way forward. You'll boost with the prime. Use the prime button there, it'll prime the engine. You can see the fuel flow come up and start to stabilize. Bring that throttle back. 1/4 inch on the mixture, and then 1/4 inch on the power lever. And I'll close this. Clear! I hit the boost pump and I can turn it over. It'll kick right over.
Grab our headsets. Engine likes to idle right around 1,000. If you go any less than that, it has trouble charging the alternator. And with that AC running, it pulls so much power that you really got to make sure that the alternator is charging. So, from there we can continue forward. We'll just go ahead and go over to our checklist. I'll go ahead and set the brakes. And I'm going to push them in to make sure we load that one-way valve on the brake lever. So we can go through our before starting engine. We did these memory, so we did the do verify and verify do 2 ways to run a checklist. So we did it, now we're verifying it. Went through all these, the engine's running. Next we got flaps, radios, avionics, cabin heat, vent, defrost.
Bessemer traffic on
Good,
4760
and we can listen to ATIS.
at the D hangar taxiing to runway 23, Bessemer.
To tune it in. So I've been here for the past 2 weeks.
040, Victor Mike.
So I've been here for the past 2 weeks working on my double I check ride. It's usually not as difficult as your initial, which I just completed a few weeks ago. So it's been a grind for sure, trying to get everything in place, situated. AWOS is 18.825, so 18.825. 25. We'll swap that over and we can listen to it.
Wind 260 at 07. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 28 Celsius. Dew point 18 Celsius. Altimeter 2994. Remarks. Density altitude 2,400. Bessemer Municipal Airport.
So that makes it pretty simple there. Bessemer, I'm going to go ahead and load Birmingham departure. That's 23.8 on the other frequency. So we got Bessemer, Unicon, or CTAF there we're talking to on the top. And then we've got Birmingham departure there loaded next for our instrument, our IFR flight clearance down to Tallahassee. So we've done our checklists here. We'll go to taxi, parking brake, HSI, attitude and turn coordinator. We got all those. We'll make sure to check them in the taxi. Now takes us to the before starting engine, or the before takeoff checklist. I'm going to throw our Tallahassee in here. We're expecting to go direct. That's what we filed. That's what we got expected. Now we can look left, right, straight ahead. We can pop that parking brake off and we can start to taxi out. Looks like it's favoring runway to our left here. Runway 23, so we'll go that way. So hope everybody's been doing well. For y'all, it seems like it's only been a month since my last video, but I've actually not filmed a video in 5 months preparing for CFI check ride, and I'll tell you a little more about how that went and how to prepare for that when we get up to cruise. But ended up passing first try. I know it's a difficult pass rate. We can call Bessemer here. Bessemer traffic Cirrus 374, Romeo Lima taxi from the FBO down to the end of 23. Bessemer. I'm sure that comment, that non-towered phraseology is going to get roasted in the comments. Anyway, so went down to Tallahassee, ended up knocking the check ride out. I did it on field with Robbie Turner. I've been using him for almost all of my check rides. So he's been awesome. He's been great. Very easy to work with and schedule with. So yeah, Robbie's been awesome for check rides. I've really enjoyed using him. Last video I was in the Diamond, which is actually sitting right in front of us right now. That's a flight school plane here on the field. Someone does a lease back with the flight school that owns it. That's a great bird. Not my favorite compared to the Cirrus. In fact, I would almost say the Cirrus is better in pretty much every way. But you know, you get what you pay for. Cirrus is a little more expensive, and you can tell based on the layout and the ergonomics. So holding short of 2-3, we can go ahead and pivot that tail because we do have someone coming up behind us. That way we're not blowing a bunch of prop wash into them. And I'll go ahead and do a run up. So here's that before takeoff checklist. Go ahead and load it all up. I'm going to click on the engine page. Now we can leave the mixture right where it's at. We'll go ahead and run it all the way up. We're going to 1700 on the RPM. Right around is good. 2 clicks to the left. I'll check that right mag. Slight drop, nothing more than 150 on the Cirrus. Most flight school planes is 175. Make that full recovery. Then 1 click to the left. Slight drop, nothing more than 150, and a deviation of 75 between both, which both of those check. We're checking and making sure everything is in the green. We can hit pitot heat. See that amped and volts there on our current on the electrical system go down and then back up, and we can run it back down to idle. Some philosophy on the run up. A lot of y'all probably get taught to run it up and let it sit. The problem with that is sometimes rocks and sticks can get kicked up and hit our flight control surface or the composite airframe, and it's not good for it. That can dent our flaps. Flaps.
Diamond 218 Charlie Lima, departing runway 23. Bessemer.
I'll do an autopilot check, so I'm going to set heading, we'll do vertical speed, and we'll pitch up, we'll engage the autopilot. Nose is coming up, autopilot's coming back, we can push it over. Autopilot disconnect button works, we can trim it forward, trim it backwards. And we'll taxi up. Yeah, a lot of flight training out of Bessemer. This is the Superior Airport at Birmingham to train out of, this in Shelby County, simply because when you're on field at Birmingham International Airport, what happens is you get stuck waiting for other traffic. They'll kind of push you to the back burner. So you drive a little further, but you have a whole runway to yourself, basically, which is so nice. So we're configured for takeoff. I've got everything plugged in. I'll go ahead and set the autopilot up here. We're going up to 11,000 feet, so I'll just plan to climb straight there since we'll be VFR on departure. I'll go ahead and throw a flight level change in there, and we'll do it at 120. That's that cruise climb. And we can engage heading mode, and that'll be on 2-4. I'll go over VFR. So, other than that, we've done our run-up. We can finish up with our checklists. We got that CAPS pin on the dash. I'd like to see that red air conditioner set. Fuel pump, fuel selector, transponder, run altitude mode. We did all these checks. Our autopilot checks, power lever, flight controls, trim.
Traffic, Diamond 2 Charlie Lima.
Take off.
Right turn out to the north. Bessemer.
And there's our climb checks. So quick takeoff briefing. This will be a normal takeoff. Any abnormalities prior to rotation, we will abort, land straight ahead, not deviating more than 30 degrees left or right of center line. Below 600 AGL. Above 600 AGL, we'll pull caps immediately. We've got it right here. We can just reach up, pull straight down, and deploy that parachute. Above 600 and above 2,000, we will troubleshoot and turn back for the runway, or we can pull caps as necessary. Other than that, I don't have any passengers, so there can't be any questions. Other than that, we're ready to go. We've got a diamond that just turned out on the upwind, and we can depart. Bessemer traffic is Cirrus 374 from Romeo. Let me take a runway 23 VFR southbound, Bessemer. So we're looking on base, we're looking on final. I don't see anybody on our scope here. As I roll onto the runway, I'm going to go ahead and get those flaps into position. 50% for takeoff on the SR22. We can turn that landing light on, and I'll turn our nav lights on. Recirc can come off, and the mixture can go full forward, mixture full rich for best power. Put my heels on the floor. We're not braking anymore once we've got that center line. And we're going to go smooth application of full power. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Looking for airspeed alive and engine instruments showing in the green. We're looking for 71 for some back pressure and then 73 to rotate. And we'll start climbing right off the ground. Next thing we need to do is get our flaps up. So that's going to be a positive rate, clear of obstacles, 90 knots. Flaps can come up. There it is. After flaps, we've got caps next, so our saying there is flaps, maps, and caps. So we'll hear that at 600. Yaw damp should be coming on any second. At 200 feet AGL on the SR22. And Bessemer traffic, Cirrus 374 from Romeo Lima is on the upwind 23, making a left turn out to the south, Bessemer.
600.
There's caps, flaps, and maps, so I'm going to go direct Tallahassee, nav mode, engage the autopilot, making that left turn, and we'll sync our heading bug. We're in the climb, so we're leaning our mixture. And we're looking outside, seeing anybody that might be relevant.
Bessemer traffic, Archer 47660, departing runway 23, Bessemer.
Now we can go ahead and switch over to Birmingham departure.
Charlie.
Alright, I had a couple checking on. Everyone stand by. Air Shuttle 6069, previously called traffic. 1 o'clock now, 1 mile, 7,000 indicated. Type unknown, appears to be in a climb.
Climb check.
Roger, we'll do
On
it.
power and flaps.
8 Victor Mike, tower 109.9. Have a good day.
Tower, Victor Mike. Yep.
Alright, 3 Mike here, just maintain 4,000.
4,000 Mike's here.
The second I get into the air, once I've finished my checks, now I want to make sure that the airplane is operating correctly, so I like to go to the engine page. Looking over my CHTs, my EGTs, RPM, power lever, you know, we're full forward in the climb.
Say again.
We're leading that mixture back to the top of the green, making sure everything looks normal. It's going to fly a little different every single day because the temperature and pressures are going to change day to day. So we want to make sure that we're taking note of that. We're looking at the temperatures and pressures and seeing what's normal right now. That way, in 30 minutes or an hour, if we check again, we can see how the airplane's changing throughout the flight. That's how we can recognize trends.
060, 180, Air Shuttle 6090, traffic no factor, climb maintain 10, 10,000.
10,000, 69. Look like there's a King Air's light twin.
Thanks, sir. 3 Mike here, flight heading 270.
270 Mike's here.
30 Papa Charlie, just to maintain 5,000. November 23 Echo, Atlanta Center, 132.25. Have a good day. November 423 Echo, Atlanta Center, 132.25. Air 6 Charlie Charlie, radar contact 10 miles southeast of Pell City at 3,500, clear to Oscar Bravo Echo as filed. Climb maintain 10,000, expect 11 as the final. Birmingham altimeter 2993.
Alright, clear to Uncle for Bravo Echo as filed. Climb to 10,000, expect 1,000 and 2993 and 3130.
3 Mike here, join the localizer off that 270 head track and inbound. Advise field in sight when you get it.
Yeah, we've got the airport in sight. We will join the localizer from here. Mike's here.
Alright, 0 Mike here, thanks for
Just really busy. I'm gonna wait and pick him up a little later. So, yeah, I've been doing my CFII training on field there at Bessemer. So, I had a flight school there at Pinnacle that I did my CFI with and commercial with in the Diamond, and then ended up having some stuff happen. I ended up doing my CFI check ride in this plane, and then ended up doing now my II check ride in this plane. So, Cirruses are great. They're not great check ride planes just because they can be very difficult to do accelerated stalls in, power on, power off stalls. Power off stalls can be pretty dangerous because I'm gonna level off here before we go into cloud, and we can continue our climb. So power off stalls are not as dangerous as power on stalls because in a Cirrus it's not designed to recover from a spin, and a power on stall is almost like a perfect storm for a spin. So Cirrus's recommended recovery procedure is to pull caps immediately if you get into a spin, whereas some of those other planes that have a bigger rudder, which gives you more authority to take the airplane out of the spin. Cirrus is just a small rudder, so it's a lot more difficult to get it out of the spin. Other than that, CFI check ride was as easy and as hard as I thought it would be, just because I've prepared a lot for it. So it took me about 5 months to get all my lesson plans together. I knew it was going to be a challenge going into it, so I was prepared for the challenge. But obviously a lot of times you just don't know what the examiner is going to ask. And so that was kind of my biggest fear, was not knowing what random question he was going to ask me. But ultimately went well. I ended up teaching the lessons. I taught a lesson, obviously runway incursions, principles of flight, and then he chose, based on my written test, human factors. So I missed a couple questions on written on that, and so that's how he chose that. Other than that, obviously we did endorsements and all the other stuff that was required to be covered, FOIs. But other than that, the flying portion was exactly what I had trained, so there's pretty much no unknowns there. I've been doing it now for 6 years, so these are not new maneuvers to me. So I knew that if I could get through the oral, the flight portion would be a breeze for me, and that's just how it went. And some other news is this plane's on the market right now to replace a new bird coming in June. So if you guys are interested in looking for an SR22, I would highly recommend this plane. Not just saying that as somebody who's flying it and we're trying to get rid of it. I'm saying that because it's really, really good condition. It's still got a 5-year spinner to tail warranty, so there's a few years left on that. It just came out of the annual in January, so we didn't have any major surprises in annual. It was all pretty standard stuff. It has about 600 hours on it, so it's pretty low hours for a plane from 2022, I would say. So you do have to do a parachute repack on an SR22 and a overhaul in the engine. The parachute repack is at 10 years and the overhaul is at 2,000 hours. So we're at like 500 or 600 hours, so it's not even a factor. So there's a lot more life left on this plane. So if you're interested, I'll link it down below if it's not already gone. I have a feeling it will go pretty quick just because it's a clean wing, which means that there's no feaky on it. That's important because our useful load is significantly higher. Some of that feaky fluid, it's like 8 to 10 gallons, or 8 to 10 pounds a gallon, and I think there's maybe 8 gallons in each side, so it gets really, really heavy really quickly. So it's 150 pounds somewhere in there of useful load that you lose by having Fiki. And the thing with Fiki is that I don't really want to fly into icing conditions in the first place. So I'm not going to take off into icing conditions in the first place. So I don't really need it. And I'm not traveling up north. So most of the stuff we're doing, 99.9% of the time, is icing conditions are not even a factor. And that 1% of the time I'm not going to fly anyway. So non-Fiki plane is absolutely the way to go. Incredible useful load. So yeah. If you're interested in all the costs and the prices for stuff like this, I do have it linked down below in a spreadsheet I've put together. You can pick that up for a low price. It's nothing crazy, but it is a legitimate business expense. That's why I do have it priced on there. But if you do like it, let me know what you think. If you got any adjustment recommendations. I'm going to try to call Birmingham now. Birmingham departure, Cirrus 374 Romeo Lima is 8 miles to the south of Shelby County, IFR to Tallahassee. We're at 8,200 feet climbing.
Alright, 374 Romeo Lima, Birmingham, squawk 3377.
3377 for Romeo Lima.
Birmingham departure, exit 862, 2500, climbing 4000.
Exit 862 Birmingham.
And so I did just deviate, but I have not received a clearance limit yet, so I'll just advise whether I'm deviating.
36583, contact Atlanta Center 132.25, good day. Fullstream 0, Papa Charlie, turn right heading 120. Number 4 Romeo Lima, your radar contact 15 miles southeast of Shelby County Airport. You're cleared to Tallahassee via direct. Climb and maintain 1010,000, expect 11,000 in 10 minutes. Birmingham altimeter 29902.
I cleared to Tallahassee via direct, 29902 on the altimeter, cleared up to 1010,000 for Romeo Lima.
Number 0 Echo, descend and maintain 3,000.
3,000, I gotta go.
Southwest 2344, descend and maintain 4,000.
Cruised out here at 11,000. I'm going to turn the cameras off. We'll pick back up with you. I'm going to do the approach into Tallahassee, and I'll walk y'all through it as if I was a certified flight instructor. Instruments, which I'm not yet, but hopefully will be tomorrow. So pick back up with me flying to Tallahassee into the Tower Charlie.
Okay, everyone, if you hear me give a clearance, give me a second before you tee up, because I have to get the readback from the previous aircraft and I won't be able to give you what you need. November 26902 Charlie, deviations approved. Enable your clear direct destination. Endeavor 5368.
Alright.
Sounds good. Deviations direct, of course, approved.
So,
enable direct to,
we were just swapped over to Tallahassee from Atlanta up at 11,000 feet. We're not going through like Montgomery and Cairns because we're so high. So now what we can do is I actually already got the weather information Quebec, and we're going to request the RNAV to runway 18 via the Takeoff initial approach fix. So I'll do that now. Tallahassee approach, Cirrus 374 Romeo Lima, Quebec. We'd like to request the RNAV runway 18 approach via Takeoff.
Alright, 374 Romeo Lima, Tallahassee approach, expect RNAV runway 18, clear direct takeoff.
Alright, we'll expect the RNAV runway 18 direct takeoff now for Romeo Lima. So because he told us we could go ahead and go direct takeoff now, we could go into our flight plan and sequence that, or we could easily just go into our procedure and click activate approach.
Vertical track.
Because when we click activate approach, all that's doing is it's drawing a magenta line between us and our initial approach fix, which is Jacob. He told us to expect it because we haven't been cleared for it yet. So he's just letting us know, hey, you can expect that, and you can go to Jacob now. Didn't say anything about our altitude, right? So that means we're staying at 11,000. Even though our VNAV's saying, hey, you need to descend. We can go ahead and brief the approach here. So we're doing the RNAV runway 18 approach into Tallahassee. We've got jet charts on here. These are awesome. The briefing strip makes it super easy to figure out everything that you're trying to go through. So this top box has got all the briefing information on there. It's called the briefing strip. So we got the ATIS. We already got Quebec. We know which runway we're using. We set the altimeter. I'm doing all these things, trying to stay as far ahead of the airplane as we possibly can. We know we're talking to 35.8. there's our tower frequency, so we can go ahead and load that in. I'll just type it in 118.7. We can click enter, and that way we've got it in our standby box there, so when they tell us to contact tower, we can just swap it over. We got ground control. I got that loaded on our bottom comm there. We do have WAS as a WAS GPS approach because we're using LPV minimums. We do have WAS on this plane, so we've already checked that on our GPS status page, so we're good to go there. Final approach course is 184, so we'll bug that on our heading bug when we get on the approach course there. Jatma is our fix there. We're going to cross at 2,000. Then we've got LPV minimums there, or a DA of 333 feet. I just typed in 340 because it doesn't let you do specifics, so I like to round those up. And that'll tell us how high it gets us above our airport elevation, touchdown zone elevation. Missed approach instructions here. We're not expecting to go miss. There's no weather here that should cause us to go miss, but if we do, it'll be 3,000 direct HEMIX and hold. And looking at HEMIX, we can see that HEMIX, it'll be a teardrop or parallel entry into HEMIX. I prefer the teardrop entry there, but you can do teardrop or parallel. Coming down, we can see that profile view, so we'll cross Seagay at 3,000. Jatma is going to be our final approach fix. We've got that Maltese cross denoting that at 2,000, and then on down to our DA LPV minimums of 333 feet. I've got bugged for 340. So there's an approach briefing. These charts obviously are already in date. We've got it on there, and we keep our charts up to date with the SD cards. So that's the approach briefing. It's really that simple. There's really not much to it. The only main difference between instrument flying and visual flying I've found is there's just more procedures. So not any new maneuvers that you have to learn necessarily. It's really just everything you need to know for instrument flying is right here on these charts. So once you can learn to read the charts and learn what they're telling you, it's like almost like cooking, because you just follow the recipe. And if you follow the recipe correctly, then you get to come in and land. If you don't, then, well, in cooking, I guess you have bad food. In aviation, the consequences could be a little more severe. But yeah, that's instrument flying in a nutshell.
Cirrus for Romeo Lima, descend and maintain 3,000.
No, 3,000 for Romeo Lima. So we'll go ahead and VS that. So when we're climbing and descending in the Cirrus, when we descend, we use VS, or vertical speed, on the autopilot. So what that means is you can descend at a certain amount of feet per minute. So I like to choose 800 feet per minute usually. And I can look at the banana here, and that'll show us that cyan colored banana looking thing, show us where we'll be at that altitude. The other option would be to climb and descend in flight level change mode. We always climb in FLC mode because that's climbing at a specific airspeed, so we don't stall in the climb. That's kind of the reason we do that, because when we descend, we want to get as much airspeed as we can. And when we climb, we want to be at a specific airspeed so that we don't stall. And so that prevents us stalling. A lot of you, if you're in flight school, are so curious about the autopilot and how it all works. It's really, really simple. There's really not much to it. So you've got heading, approach, and nav mode. So heading mode literally just flies the heading. We got that knob, we can turn to the specific heading. Nav mode is going to track a lateral course, and then approach mode will activate our glide slope, so that'll allow us to track lateral and vertical. Here we've got our flight director, our autopilot engage button, and then that blue level button. And then on this right side is for altitude, so we've got heading on one side and altitude on the other. Over here, we've got a wheel to scroll for flight level change and vertical speed, and then we have that VNAV button, so we can climb at a feet per minute on that VS button. VNAV, that'll give us an advisory to descend, so if we want to cross a certain fix at a certain altitude, we can use VNAV. And then flight level change, again, is that climbing or descending at a specific airspeed. And altitude select, and we can select our altitude using that altitude bug. Other than that, there's really not much to the autopilot, just servo linkages. The yaw damp is automatic, so we don't have a button for it to engage. It automatically turns on and off at 200 feet AGL.
Cirrus 4 Romeo Lima, you're 14 miles from JCAV, cross JCAV at 3000, cleared RNAV, runway 18 approach.
Cross JCAV at 3000, clear the RNAV, 18 approach into Tallahassee 4 Romeo Lima. So we can see where we're at here. Are we going to cross it? 3000 we're not, so we need to increase our descent a little more, and we can see if our goal here is to get this banana dial at JCAV at 3000. So we're at 3000, we want to get that right at JCAV. So we got descended pretty late. At our descent here, altimeter's been set, landing light, mixture brakes. Go to our house, fuel pump, get that on at 2000, flaps, power lever, brakes. Not doing a short field. There's our bulk. If we do a go around. There's our after landing we'll do when we get on the ground. So remember, when we're flying, when we're in the yellow arc, only go in that yellow arc if the air is very smooth. Right now the air is very smooth, so that's why I don't have any problem being in the yellow arc. So we're crossing JCAV, we're making that left turn. And we're coming up on 3000. So we're perfectly meeting that crossing restriction.
Tallahassee approach, shooter 148, level 7000, information, Quebec request. Shooter 148, Tallahassee approach, good evening, say request. Good evening, shooter 148, sir, looking for direct SACAD for the full procedure turn on nav 27, followed by the ILS 27 full stop. Shooter 148, clear direct FCAD, hold east as published. Clear direct FCAD, hold east as published, shooter 148. Shooter 148, I'll probably need a couple turns in holding, I'll let you know, but once again, just hold east as published. Your misapproach instructions will be to fly runway heading, maintain 3000, return to this frequency. Runway heading 3000, back to you, roger on a couple laps, shooter 148. 2 mile 5961, turn 15 degrees left. Cirrus 4 Romeo Lima, contact tower today.
Over tower, have a good one, 4 Romeo Lima.
All aircraft hazardous convect SIGMET 05060709 Eastern, about in Florida and surrounding states. 4 an area of thunderstorms, available on flight service frequencies.
Toss tower, Cirrus 374 Romeo Lima, outside of Seaga on the RNAV, runway 18 approach, full stop.
This is 374 Romeo Lima, Tallahassee Tower, runway 18, clear to land.
18, clear to land, 4 Romeo Lima. Alright, so we have been clear to land, turn that landing light on. Go ahead and start doing our pre-landing check, so our mixture, bring it full rich, bring that boost pump on. Got our airspeeds under control, about 18 inches will give us 120 knots in the SR22. We'll cross Seagate at 120, and then we can go down to Jatma. I'm going to go ahead and just send us to 2000 crossing Seagate. And we'll intercept that glide slope at the FAF of Jatma. There's our right turn. Once we do that, we want to fly the approach in category B on this plane of 100 knots. That's what Cirrus recommends. I've also heard it recommended to fly at 90 knots on the clean wing SR22s, just because they can be a lot more difficult to slow down, especially if you're breaking out at minimums. I haven't had a problem with it, so I've always just done 100 knots, and that's how Cirrus teaches it. But yeah, every plane is a little bit different. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and check out the description, because I have a lot of cool offers down there, companies that want to get in front of y'all, and I'm happy to do it for them. So check it out, let me know what y'all think. If there's something you want or a company that you like, let me know. I'm sure they'd be willing to partner. So our glide slope's alive, we know that because we can see our glide advisor needle starting to move. So what I'm going to do, when I see that we're below 150, I can go ahead and add flaps. And so we're a little fast, so I'm going to slow us down a little more, partially because we're descending. Keep the same power setting and descend, you're going to speed up. Alright, sure the airplane is configured for landing. I'm gonna go ahead and turn AC back on. We're configured for landing, our landing lights on, our mixture's full rich.
P-Mon 5985, Tallahassee Tower, runway 27, taxi via Bravo.
The technology in this plane is incredible. I mean, it's going to do exactly what it's designed to do. Even though it's a clear day, it's kind of cool to imagine what would happen if we were to break out at 200 feet above the ground. Just how crazy that would be. Just a testament to the technology of these avionics and the capability of this airplane. I've never seen anything like it. And we don't have anybody in front of us, so I'll hand fly it. This altitude here, it's 2,000. Can't go below. It's listed as that altitude on our chart. So, there's that glide slope. The needle's centered, and we can follow it all the way down to the runway. Clicked approach mode there, made sure because we're activated. We've activated the approach and clicked approach mode because we've been cleared for the approach. Now we can take it down. Looks like we've got some wind off our right, so we're watching that. And our missed approach altitude is 3,000. So this is a localizer performance approach, which means that the needles are going to get more sensitive the closer that I get to the ground. So that being said, it's important to make sure that we're trying to stay centered the whole time, because what can happen is if you get off a little bit, it can be catastrophic for the approach. And we're at a towered airport, so we don't need to make position reports. We'll do full flaps at 2 mile final, and we're doing those altitude call-outs. So we'll do 1,000 above, 500, 200, and 100, and then minimums. It's a DA, so we can't level off. We have to come down, look, and then climb back out. So there is 1,000 above, minimums. Grab it into the wind a little bit. One of the biggest things I can look at here is that green circle. When you compute the weight and balance on the avionics, that's going to be affected by our weight and balance, and it's going to show us where we're going to be.
P-Mon 5985, fly runway heading runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, runway heading P-Mon 5985.
Cheers, 4 Romeo Lima, we got our Embraer 145, beach flying 27, runway heading.
Roger that, 400. Alright.
Tower, P-Mon 5961, visual 27.
P-Mon 5961, Celeste Tower, runway 27, clear to land.
And there is 500 above. Minimums. And we got needle centered. I'm going to break off early just because I don't have a safety pilot here. So I have to do a little bit of extra cautious. And I'm going to go ahead and look outside. Looks pretty good. I can transition now. I got the runway in sight, so I can look at those pappies. Getting a little hot in here.
500.
There's 500. Airplane's configured for landing. Go ahead and do full flaps. Usually do them at 2 mile final, but I missed those. And we'll bring it on down. Now we've just got yaw damp to go. And we can go ahead and lose the flight director. So I've transitioned from the approach on to our pappies there off the left side of the runway.
Minimums.
We're looking for, we're going to continue. Looking for 85, 79 across the numbers and the flare. Trying to touch down on those 1,000 footers without side loading. It's been one of the difficult things for me in this plane, sitting in the right seat now. If we get a little low, we can just level off briefly and then re-intercept. So I'm a little right, so I'm going to bring it over. And I'm
Lima 5985, contact departure.
Departure, good day.
See y'all.
Make sure we find that center line. And I believe all these taxiways are closed, so I'm going to go ahead and brake. On the runway, I bring the mixture back.
Denver 5325, Tallahassee Tower cleared to 8. Preston Alpha Tango Lima Airport is filed on departure. Maintain 3000, spec flight level 220. 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 135.8. Squawk 1602 and stand by for the readback. CS4 Romeo Lima. Taxi depart via Alpha. You going to the north ramp?
Affirmative to Alpha with you for Romeo Lima.
See y'all.
See ya.
Alright, Endeavor 5325, go.
Alright, so we can turn him down. We're staying with him, going to the north ramp.
Endeavor 5325.
So I hope y'all enjoyed the flight today, enjoyed the new camera angle. Thanks Sporties for that. They actually sent me the mount to do the exterior cameras, so if y'all like that,